Hey, what's up, guys? Today, I'll show you a slasher thriller film, Terrifier Part 2. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. The film begins with the clown, a serial killer, being resurrected by a sinister entity following the Miles County massacre, shown in the first episode. The coroner investigating his body desperately crawls, weakened by the wounds the clown inflicted on him. He successfully contacts the police, while the clown stares at himself in the mirror, but fails to say something as his throat splatters blood from being slashed. The clown writes his name on the mirror, using his dripping blood, before grabbing the knee hammer and hitting the coroner's head with it. He then gouges the coroner's eyeball and inserts it in his eye socket. He laughs maniacally before smashing the coroner's face, and then parting his head to eat his brain. After that, he takes the coroner's wallet and some stuff from the office. He murders another person and goes to the nearby laundromat to clean his blood-soaked garments. While waiting, the clown encounters a pale little girl, dressed in similar clown makeup. Seconds later, the lone patron wakes up and sees the clown playing with someone invisible to the human eye. The next scene shows the clown leaving the patron with a map impaled in his head. A year later, a girl named Anne puts the finishing touches on her Halloween costume. She goes downstairs to the kitchen, where her younger brother, John, shares that he plans on going as the clown for Halloween. But Anne informs their mom about the clown and the Miles County massacre. The mother immediately forbids John from dressing like the clown. After dinner, Anne raises her concerns. She is disturbed about John's hobbies, like looking up serial killers and talking about the Nazis and the Holocaust. The mother tells her to understand John as they just lost their dad. As they converse, John is in his room, searching about the Miles County massacre with his book. Later on, John stops by Anne's room, where he compliments her artwork and talent as she recreates the costume designed by their late dad. Anne has a blade partnered with her outfit, which she will not bring for safety. Before leaving, John asks Anne about the clown and the possibility of him being alive and lurking, which she doesn't believe. Later that night, Anne dreams of herself in a commercial set of a restaurant featuring the clown. A singer is singing about the disgusting clown cafe, and there's also a cereal commercial with the clown's face on the box. A special prize is included in every box, including glass, insects, and blades. The singer then presents the clown in the flesh, who's warmly welcomed by the guests. The clown brings his black trash bag and gives everyone a candy, except for Anne, who receives a beating heart in a box with maggots and black goo. He then whips out a Tommy gun and shoots others to death, while Anne got shot in the leg and attempts to flee. While the clown torches the remaining guests, Anne crawls to the cereal set. She yells in pain as the glass shards from the cereal box pierce her hand. The clown approaches her, and she whips out her blade from the cereal box. She uses the blade as a shield, while the clown uses the torch on her. At the same time, a fire ignites on her dresser, waking her up and incinerating the wings that she had designed for her costume. She attempts to put the fire out, and fortunately, the mother comes to her aid and stops it from spreading with a fire extinguisher. Following that, the mother castigates Anne for leaving burning candles on her dresser, which she claims were not lit before she fell asleep. Despite her mother's instructions, Anne still goes into her room, where she discovers that the blade sword remains unscathed among the ashes. As Halloween begins the following day, Anne cannot get what happened last night. She even imagines the cereal commercial when she sees John eating them. Meanwhile, the pale girl watches the televised interview of a previous survivor with the TV hostess. As she watches, the clown is busy remaking his torture devices to be more hurtful. The clown hears the previous survivor's familiar voice, and upon hearing her firm voice saying he's dead, the clown destroys the television. On the other hand, John finds his friends playing with a dead opossum. He tells them to stop playing with it, but his friends also involve a girl who runs away in disgust after seeing maggots. Fortunately, one teacher sees this and instructs them to return to class. While in class, John excuses himself to the bathroom. He is drinking from the water fountain when he notices someone passing by. He follows it, leading to an empty hallway where he finds the clown and the pale girl playing with the dead opossum. He freezes in his spot and accidentally drops his notebook from shock, causing the two to turn to him. The clown then tosses the dead animal to him, prompting John to run from them, and accidentally runs into a teacher. The teacher seems confused and tries to stop John from exiting the school, but he storms out immediately. The teacher then checks the hallways to see why John's in a rush to leave, only to find the dead opossum on the floor. While at lunch break, Anne meets up with her friends Allie and Brooke. Brooke brings up what happened to the TV hostess and how she was attacked brutally by the previous survivor, which causes Anne to leave in horror. The friends run after her and apologize for bringing it up. Anne changes the subject and shares what happened last night in her room. Meanwhile, the mother berates John after the school calls, and he tells her what happened during his school day, but she doesn't believe him anymore. Later that day, Anne goes to a costume shop with Allie to look for a wings replacement. Allie receives a call from her mom, so she excuses herself and accidentally runs into the clown. Allie thinks he's just a guy dressed up as the clown on Halloween, and she leaves. Anne also sees the clown and feels uncomfortable. She excuses herself without a word and goes to the cashier to pay for her stuff. However, she realizes she has left her bag downstairs, where she encountered the clown. Just then, the clown drops her bag on the counter. Although nervous, Anne pays for the wings, while the clown stands by the corner in the shades department. She repeatedly looks over her shoulders, where the clown playfully antagonizes her with his creepiness until she leaves. The clown follows her to the doors, flips the open and closed card, and locks it before returning to the cashier counter. He pretends to buy something and looks for the money in his trash bag. The clown puts his torture devices on the counter as he looks for the money, pissing off the cashier. However, the clown replies by smashing the empty bottle on his head and dragging him out off the counter. He then stabs the broken bottle into the cashier's left eye before beheading him. Shortly after, a mother and son stop by the costume shop and see the clown holding the cashier's head, thinking it's just a prop for Halloween. On the other hand, Anne and Allie go to a grocery store, where Anne shares that the clown they encountered is the clown. Allie offends Anne by asking if she has changed medications recently. As Anne returns home later, John tells his sister that the clown is back in Miles County. He shows his book, revealed to be their late dad's sketchbook, containing a newspaper about a 10-year-old girl mutilated in a local carnival. It turns out that girl is the same pale girl that the clown made friends with at the laundromat. John also shows sketches relating to the Miles massacre and how he brutally mutilated each person a year ago. Surprisingly, it also contains a sketch of her in a warrior princess costume, holding a beheaded head in one hand and her sword in another. Anne refuses to believe everything, and their argument catches their mother's attention. She informs Anne that John might be suspended from school for bringing a dead animal to school. He denies the accusation and blames the clown and the pale girl. John pleads with Anne to believe him, since their dad created the sketchbook before he died. However, Anne says that the book doesn't represent their dad. Elsewhere, the clown finds Allie's house and forces her to put candy in his trash bag. Allie tosses them to end the convo, but then she sees the tools inside the trash bag. She immediately returns inside, locks the door, and watches the clown walk away through her windows. Later that day, Anne prepares before putting on her pretty sick costume. She shows her costume to her mother. Her conservatism strikes, but Anne reasons that she created her dad's character into life. As her ride arrives, Anne then leaves to join the party. On the other side, Allie goes downstairs upon hearing their glasses break. She checks the kitchen and finds one of the sliding doors broken into pieces, with the clown walking around like it's his house. She promptly runs to her room to escape through the window, but fails. The clown grabs her by the hair and slashes her face with a knife. He then proceeds to remove her scalp before removing more skin, stabbing and torturing her more. Although severely wounded and almost dying, Allie crawls to reach for her phone. When the clown returns from the kitchen, pours bleach, and rubs salt all over her wounds. Concurrently, Allie's mom returns home and searches for her after finding the broken kitchen glass door. She enters Allie's room and is in complete utter shock as she finds the clown on the bed, laughing as he cuts off Allie's flesh. All places are covered with blood splatter, and her room is a complete mess. Allie calls her mom with her remaining strength, prompting her to run while screaming. On the other side, Anne and Brooke arrive at the party. They order drinks before Anne raises her concern about Allie being late. Brooke tells her not to worry and introduces her boyfriend in a costume. They then proceed to the dance floor. On the other hand, the clown opens the door to the kids trick-or-treating, with Allie's mom's head as a prop to serve candy. The kids are in awe of the clown's costume and props, unaware that he's not pretending to be a serial killer and that it's a real human's head in his hands. Meanwhile, John and his mother get into another heated argument as she refuses to believe her son. John denies the accusation once again and argues with her about the book. Fed up, the mother tears the sketchbook into pieces, as it's a reminder of her husband's sickness. However, John calls her a bitch, prompting her to slap him. This pushes him to storm out of the house. Shortly after, the mother finds the family car vandalized. John stops on the sidewalk when a van honks at him, revealed as the pale girl's doing. Upon seeing the sinister eyes of the pale girl, John runs away in fear. Meanwhile, Anne calls her mother after seeing the missed phone calls. Fuming, the mother tells Anne that she's taking John to a psychiatrist because he completely vandalized the car. Anne calms her mother down. After the call, the mother cleans up the car mess, removing the shaving cream and toilet paper on the windows. As she wipes the passenger window, the clown stares into her eyes before pulling the trigger, causing her head to be detached. Meanwhile, Anne returns to partying when she sees the pale girl appearing everywhere. She feels dizzy from the alcohol and gets a panic attack, momentarily stopping the party. Simultaneously, John returns home, only to find his mutilated mother at the dining table. The clown comes out from the kitchen carrying mashed potatoes, which he smashed into her unrecognizable face. He pulls out a big needle and points at the pale girl beside John. This prompts John to run to Anne's room to get the blade sword, where the clown follows him and incapacitates him with the needle. After that, he grabs the sword and stares at its blade. Meanwhile, Brooke and her boyfriend are driving Anne back to her house when she receives a call from John, whose voice is mimicked by the pale girl, saying that he's at the old carnival. Anne instructs her brother to wait for the main entrance before the call ends. Despite Brooke's disapproval, her boyfriend insists on taking Anne to the old carnival to help her brother. They soon arrive there, but John is not answering his phone, so Anne has to get out and look for him. While investigating the premises, Anne receives a text from John saying that he's stuck at the haunted house named the Terrifier. Meanwhile, still pissed about Anne ruining Halloween night, Brooke accidentally reveals what had happened to Anne's dad. His giant brain tumor made him see things and be abusive toward his family, especially Anne. Then one day, he drank a whole bottle of whiskey and got into a car crash, which trapped him in a fire and burned him to death. On the other hand, John wakes up surrounded by creepy dolls, and the sinister pale girl mutilates her face. He rushes his way out of there. Elsewhere, the boyfriend gets out of the car to do his smelly business at the back of the vehicle when the clown suddenly appears and repeatedly stabs his smelly thing. Seeing the clown with his bloody clothes and a knife, Brooke panics and moves to the driver's seat to start the car. However, the clown smashes the glass and pulls her heavy body out from there. Although wounded by the shards, Brooke kicks the clown in the face and runs into the carnival to look for Anne, leaving her boyfriend dying from the pain inflicted on his smelly sausage. While in the haunted house, Anne hears Brooke's terrified screams. Brooke ends up in a dingy bathroom where the clown throws muriatic acid on her sexy face before repeatedly hitting her with a hammer full of sharp metal things. After smashing her chest, the clown takes out her heart and eats it, but spares her smelly part. At this time, Anne is in a panic, looking for Brooke everywhere. Shortly after, Anne finds Brooke's brutally mutilated body in the dingy bathroom. She's shaking as she approaches the corpse, when she finally notices the clown standing by the corner. The clown slowly approaches her when she unexpectedly sees John behind him. She yells at her brother to run, which he does before grabbing the piece of wood. Anne hits the clown with it, but he grabbed her by the hair, slams her into the stall doors, and then breaks the mirror with her face. Anne tries to get up when the clown kicks her in the face, knocking her unconscious. After that, the clown searches for John, which he successfully does. As he slashes John with a scalpel, Anne gains consciousness and grabs the hammer with sharp metals before leaving. She quickly finds them, sneaks behind the clown, and repeatedly hits him with the hammer before stabbing it into his head. She then grabs John to escape, while the clown attempts to remove the hammer from his head. They end up in a church display, where Anne looks for an exit. However, she hears John's terrified screams. She returns to the main hall and finds a seemingly immortal clown attacking John. She hits hard with the bat, but he replies by wounding her with a crude whip. Anne uses her body as a shield to protect John. She endures the metal piercing her skin before stealing the whip from the clown and starts hitting him with it. She then takes one of the metal props and stabs the clown in the head with it. However, he's still alive and fights back by strangling Anne. John intervenes, steals the clown's gun, and shoots him with it. Weakened, Anne hallucinates her late mother in front of her when John snapped her out of that. Anne then sees the pale girl pretending to be her mother. The pale girl suddenly vanishes, leaving Anne crying in agony after realizing her mother's death. She then searches for John and finds him lying on the ground with the clown staring at his body. Furious, Anne punches the clown's chest. He suddenly strangles her before pushing her into pieces of wood. Anne falls to the lower floor, where the clown stabs her stomach with her dad's sword, causing her to fall into another cell. He drops the sword before leaving Anne and returning to John. The clown tries to wake up a comatose John, but when his tricks don't work, he starts eating John instead. Meanwhile, Anne falls into a dream she had earlier, the clown cafe. She finds herself trapped in a water torture cell, prompting her to attempt resurfacing from the water. However, no matter what she does, she soon runs out of air and dies. Just then, the stab wound on her stomach shines, and within seconds, the sword resurrects her. Anne finally frees herself and returns to help her brother. As John desperately attempts to escape the clown, Anne appears and stabs the clown in the back. She hits his neck several times before decapitating him, killing the immortal clown. As the two siblings embrace, the pale girl suddenly appears and takes the clown's head as she leaves. The film ends with a post-credits scene where an institutionalized girl, the mutilated sole survivor of the Miles County massacre from the previous episode, goes into labor. Although in pain, she uses her own blood and writes weird words on the walls. Not long after, a nurse checks the hallways when she hears someone repeatedly saying an offensive word to a woman. She checks the survivor's cell and finds her on the floor licking something. As she enters the room, the nurse is beyond shocked and disgusted as she realizes that the survivor has given birth to the clown's head, signifying that the clown is resurrected that way. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.